What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Ryan Green, and I got a question for you. What do you need in life? What's important to you? And how hard are you willing to work for it? You don't know? Maybe you do. Let's discuss it. So, I want to start this little rant, or whatever you want to call it. I want to start it off by telling you what I need, or at least what I think needs come down to. So, I think on a basic level, needs come down to what are you going to eat, where are you going to live, and I guess what are you going to do? We live in a beautiful age, a modern world where most things that we like to do, we can do them with free access and just a lot of engagement without putting much in. We can just go on YouTube and watch billions of videos. We can buy video games that give us hundreds of hours of content for $50. We can watch any movie we want on Netflix for $10 a month, and that's all pretty great. I don't think things we want to do cost so much. If you want to travel the world and you want to do something like extravagant, it might cost you more. But we're talking about what you need, or at least something close to that. You know, like if these are your needs, your wants are kind of here. If your wants are up here, your needs are generally up with them. And so to say that extravagance and being luxurious is anywhere around there, well, it's not a problem with your desires, it's a problem with your needs. And so to me, when it comes down to it, everything I want to do is very much reflective of what I feel like I need, you know? And that comes down to where I'm living and what I have to eat. If I could eat everything, or if I could eat what I needed, and I could drink water, and I could keep warm, or that's kind of what shelter's for, then really everything else after that is just, it's kind of a luxury. It's kind of a gift, you know? You don't need it. Nobody needs to watch TV. Nobody needs to use social media. We get to use it, but you don't need to. You need food, you need water, and you need to keep warm. You'll freeze. And yeah, that to me that's what needs come down to. But I feel like everybody agrees with that on some level. I think some people are thinking, well, come on, you need toothpaste, you need a car, you need clothes, and this and that. And I get what you're talking about. Those are kind of like that's kind of like a modern like need, you know. That's just things that we do in our social world, and I get that. But I feel like those things are above the basics: food and water and shelter. And so if those basics were $100,000, then my guess is the food or the clothes and the car are going to be around there. For me personally, I can live in a one-bedroom apartment and I can be satisfied. I have the space, I have privacy, I have the room, and obviously I have shelter. I could even go down so far as to rent a room. As long as it's in a place where the tenants aren't so dickish, I could get by with that. Food's fairly cheap, unless you want to eat at the keg, but that's not necessary. Food is just it's like rice and chicken breasts and some vegetables and maybe some nuts and seeds, some fruit. It's only a few $100 a month. And when it comes to your cell phone and your toothpaste and your deodorant, that stuff's like $100 a month. You don't need to spend $100 on your cell phone. You don't need data. Data's a fucking joke. You have Wi-Fi everywhere. What do you need data for? Unlimited talk and text, you get it for $25 a month. Toothpaste is like $2 for like a week's worth of toothpaste. Probably 2 weeks if you get a good deal. And deodorant, it's like $1. What about shampoos and makeup? You don't need makeup and all that shit. You don't need deodorant. Do you think people 10,000 years ago used deodorant? They didn't even use toothpaste. Like I'm being lenient in terms of what you actually need. So let's just say that food's $300, that your accessories, even if it's $200, say $500 for your food and accommodation, like your toothpaste and your jewelry or whatever, $500. So it comes down to rent. Where I live, you can rent a room for $500. It's on the lower end, but realistically it's about $700, and utilities, they're generally included. But let's just say that in an ideal scenario, or at least in an intermediate scenario, like in the middle ground, you could get a room, maybe a basement suite for $1,000, and you can get an apartment or just like a private like place for about $1,500. If you want to live in the closer to the city, it's gonna be about $2,000. Let's just say that $2,500, that's your cost of living, where you have everything you need and you basically have everything you want. You don't have a car, you don't have fancy clothes, you don't have the ability to do all these fun, exciting luxury things, but that's like 5% of what you really want. Most people just want to watch TV, they want to go and hang out with their friends, they want to go on Netflix, and all that stuff is fairly cheap. To go on some big exciting adventure, yeah, it's going to cost you a few $100, but maybe a budget for that. But that's not necessary, and that's far off of what you actually want. You know? And so, I guess what I'm getting at is $2,500, that's what I need. And everything else I want is basically free. And even when it comes to traveling, like you can live in a hostel for $15 a night and eat for a few bucks of food. That's $20 a day. You know, like it's not going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. It's definitely not a vacation. And so like there's not much that you really need, and there's not much you really want that costs a lot. You think you do, but it's because you're thinking about mansions and fancy cars and all this luxury, you know? When you take luxury out of the account, things are very cheap. And that's getting everything you want, you know? If you were stranded on a desert island and you had food and you were warm and you had water, well, fuck me, you'd get by. And eventually you just get used to the peace and quiet, you know? And so I feel like in practice, it lowers the bar in terms of what success is. For example, I want to be a YouTuber. I think it's fun to create things. I think it's fun to share them. And it'd be great if I could provide for myself to do so. But what providing for myself looks like, it's about $2,000. It's about $2,500 a month. If I was making $5,000 a month, I would invest like $2,000 in like the stock market or whatever. Like that's how much money that would mean to me. And when people normally think about being a YouTuber or just a success, they're thinking of millions of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Are you kidding me? I need $2,500 a month. That's basically 100,000 subscribers. I feel like that's what I could get with that. And that's my dream. Most people dream of millions of subscribers. My dream is like 10 times smaller. And so it may take me 2 years to make my dream, but imagine somebody who wants 10 million subscribers and how that's going to take them 5 years. When they're a year in, and they may have that 1 million subscribers, they're going to feel like they're still not even halfway there. If I had 50,000 subscribers, I would be halfway there. If I had 10,000, my gosh, it would feel like I was almost there. That's the difference. That's what finding out what's really necessary can do. So it lowers the bar and it puts everything into perspective. And everything becomes much more significant. And your barrier to entry in terms of what success is, it's so much smaller and so much more approachable. And so that's my rant. That's my 10th video, and I might take a break for a few days, figure out what I want to do. I'm actually pretty anxious on what that is, and I'm stressed, and I'm overwhelmed, you know? I don't know what to do. I feel like I want to act. I want to make comedy sketches. I want to make like music videos where it's more like inspirational and just kind of like parody kind of skits. I'd love to do that, but I don't know how, and I'm really nervous that because I don't know how, I'm not really going to move that far forward. But maybe it's just my life and my bad experiences and my mistakes that makes me scared to not move forward and just add depth. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, leave a comment. If you have any questions, the same. If you have any ideas or things you'd like me to talk about, again, leave a comment. Subscribe, like, stay tuned for next time, and hope you have a good day. Cheers.